Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents. We're here on a very cold Saturday night. I just want to remind everyone, if it's cold for you, it's cold for them. Please keep your pets inside. And if you know someone who is leaving their animal outside, say something. If you are uncomfortable saying something directly, call your local animal control. If it's a dire situation, call the police. If it's an ongoing thing and you know that you don't want your name associated with it, I know that Bikers Against Animal Cruelty will absolutely step in and make that call for you, and you can remain anonymous. Bikers Against Animal Cruelty has said that they will intervene on the show here, so I know that they're as good as their word. But, you know, if you don't say something, you could be their only chance for survival. So you're definitely not helping the situation. You're only adding to it, and, you know, you're just as guilty as the person who is leaving them outside. So please be vigilant as to what's going on around you, your neighbors' animals, animals that you might see in passing. Definitely don't belong outside in the cold. I think it was 26 degrees when I pulled into the studio, and that's way too cold for me, and I know it's way too cold for pets to be left outside. You know, bathroom breaks, potty breaks, a little bit of playing around, but not to be left outside. It's not right. And I have to laugh because, you know, mine are a bunch of wussies, and, you know, they're shivering by the time they come inside just from doing their thing. So I can't imagine, you know, I know some animals can withstand it a whole lot better. They're kind of made for it, but that doesn't mean that they deserve to be neglected or abused or left outside or anything. So that's my little PSA for the beginning of the show tonight. And I'm sure that I will end up on another rant, but let that unfold all by itself. Anyway, so this is the second to last show before Christmas. And because the way Christmas and New Year's Eve fall this year, we don't have shows the last two Saturdays of the year because they are Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So this show and one more, and then we call it a year. We call it a wrap until 2017, which is really kind of a very hard pill to swallow when a year just kind of breezes by the way this has. And certainly there have been ups and downs this year for all of us. And, you know, I guess we just really need to hug our loved ones, hold them close, be grateful for what we have, and be mindful of what other people don't have and what we can do sometimes to help in a situation. Because, you know what, we're all in it together, and that's what life should be about. That being said, Christmas coming up and all that, we've got Christmas pictures, and, you know, I put up on the Posse Presents page kind of late today, late in the game, not late in the day, if anybody wanted to have their pets' Christmas pictures put up on the air, I would be glad to do that, because I like to do that. It's cool to see people's pets for Christmas, for the holidays. And I know that people kind of like to see, you know, be able to say, oh, look at my pet, you know, it was on TV, look, it's on YouTube, whatever. So anyway, I will do some pictures tonight, and I will do, if there's any more that come in, I will be glad to do them next week as well, because I think that, you know, people maybe didn't see the post or haven't gotten their holiday pictures together yet. You know, there's still a little bit of time. And speaking of pets and holidays and all that, before I get into the pictures, tomorrow there are two more pet pictures with Santa, and one of them is at Sweet Pea Friends of Rutland Animals, and of course that's in Paxton, Mass. And the Sweet Pea pics are from 12 until 3. And they are at the Paxton Post, 306 American Legion, 885 Pleasant Street in Paxton, Mass. That is going to be, of course, attended by Juno and Jake from State Farm, and it will be a very nice occasion for everybody to get together, and of course it benefits Sweet Pea, and I know that one of these years I will make it up there, I swear, for their Christmas pictures with Santa, just not this year, unfortunately. One that I am going to try to make tomorrow is going to be the Pet Playhouse Santa Pics, which is tomorrow at 12 until 2. And Pet Playhouse is at 1656 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike in Milldale. For more information, you can call 860-426-9640. And if you have any questions about the Sweet Pea Santa Pics, you can go to the Sweet Pea Facebook page. There's also an event on Facebook if you have any questions. It's going to be interesting tomorrow if I can make it to the Pet Playhouse Santa Pics, because I will have 4 dogs in tow, and, call me crazy, except that, I'm going to try it. Never done Christmas pictures with Gidget, or Santa pictures rather with Gidget. The boys were just not. Duke got car sick, Bocce was sometimes a little nervous, Nellie. It was just, and then, you don't take one out and not take them all. It was a whole pack dynamic. And so Gidget, if I can get her, if I can get myself out of the house, it'll be her first Santa experience. Bella is my reactive little miss thing, so that should prove to be interesting to get her out to see Santa. Little man, yeah, he can be a little reactive, but he's mostly just a sweet mush ball, so I don't know how he'll do. And of course, my foster, Max, that will be very sweet because this is his very first Christmas on this earth. So, yeah, wish me luck if I can get them all together and get myself together and get out of the house. They'll be a handful. And fortunately, I know Debbie is going to be there waiting in the wings to give me a hand because, yeah, I'll need it. Anyway, let's do the Christmas pictures. We've got Allison Leo Milliken, who we all know and love in the rescue world. Allison has her crazy stories of what goes on in her house with her dogs and her cat, and now her rabbit and her little reptile. I don't even know what he is. Excuse me. But anyway, she posted pictures. This is Blaze and Scooby. They are father and son, and they are absolutely gorgeous. They are the most spoiled German Shepherds you'll ever know. They're absolutely beautiful dogs. They're wonderful. And this is the 2 of them. We also have Bart. Now, Bart is, I love his face. When she posted this picture, I don't know, I had to keep looking at it. There's something about the look on his face that's just cracking me up. Bart is a big ham. He is a rescue, and he is an older guy. Allison loves her big dogs, that's for sure. And Bart is, like I said, he's a ham, and he is a beautiful old guy. And this is his Christmas attire. He looks absolutely thrilled. Can't imagine what was going through his head. That's a great picture for Caption This, because he just, looks underwhelmed by the experience. I love that dog. We got to get him on the show. We had plans to do that last year, and then a couple things happened, and we just didn't. So, yeah, we got to get Bart on the show. Next up, we have a picture of Blaze solo, which is obviously a studio portrait, but a very, very, he's just such a beautiful dog. I can't even stand it. But there is Blaze, and then we got another one late in the game. Allison tagged me on Facebook just in time. There's Scooby with his little antlers. He's all ready to go. he doesn't look too thrilled either, but I'm sure life will go on for Scooby. Again, Scooby and Blaze, father and son. Scooby's the dad, Blaze is the son. That was, I remember when Blaze was born, and Allison helped and ended up with both dogs eventually. And, there was a time where I can remember carrying Blaze around because he was just a little thing. And there he is now, no carrying him anymore. So we'll roll through those one more time, and then I will take the camera back and we will get on with the rest of the show. I do love showing these pictures. I enjoy them myself. Hopefully next week we'll have some more to show, and maybe even, like I said, if I can make the Santa pictures tomorrow, who knows if we can get a group picture. When you live alone and you have, your animals, selfies and all that, that's one thing. But I don't even think I have pictures with me and any of my dogs for quite some time now. And it's kind of sad to think that, like, the last pictures of me with my dogs might be the only ones I have of me and Duke and Bocce were when we were saying goodbye, which, people don't let that happen, because those aren't the pictures you want to remember. Anyway, beauty is only skin deep. And, that's more than just a saying. We have a dog named Bear, and if we can get him up, Bear has been overlooked for months at the shelter because he looks a little different. I think he's handsome. I love his underbite, and, so what? He looks a little different. Some of us do. He's got a different look, and he's a black dog, which already puts him in a less adopted, not less adoptable, but less adopted pool to begin with. So, he's really fighting to beat the odds that have been stacked up against him. And, sometimes life isn't fair. Bear was born looking the way he does. Thankfully, it's not a product of any kind of abuse. We've all seen the dogs whose features have been altered because of something done at the hands of humans. But, this is just the way he came out, and there's nothing wrong with it. People are very superficial, and, they want a certain look. They want perfection, or perfection in their eyes, or whatever. But, what matters is what's on the inside. And he is said to be great with everyone. I'm sure he'd be an amazing addition to any family. So if you are interested in Bear, who is quite deserving of a home, people are so shallow. Anyway, contact Last Chance Animal Rescue. They're in New York, Long Island as a matter of fact, and you can contact them or apply to adopt Bear at www.lcarescue.org. Once again, that's www.lcarescue.org. They can tell you more about Bear. As I said, you can apply to adopt him, maybe set up an appointment to meet him and see what a wonderful dog he really is. Bear, I hope you get your Christmas miracle, because I know you deserve one. You've got a golden heart. Anyway, next up, we have a kitty who's a little bit on the special needs side of life. This is Diego. He has feline leukemia, and, that doesn't mean very much in the grand scheme of things, other than that he'd be probably the perfect companion for another FELV kitty. He could be a solo cat. He definitely has all the potential in the world to live a normal life and a happy life. He's unfortunately been aggressive towards dogs in his current situation. So, a cat-only home for Diego. And it doesn't necessarily mean an only cat. If you've got a cat that also has leukemia, that's fine, because, they can't do any harm to each other, that's for sure. Anyway, So Diego is a love. He's good with kids. He's good with people in general. And he's about a year old. So he doesn't have a typical life expectancy, obviously, because of the leukemia. But, he could live, 3, 5 years or more. It depends. You never know when you're sick what the cards are going to deal you. So it is what it is. He just needs a place to go where there's no dogs and he's not going to have any problems. Mike, can I ask you to shut the door for me, because I hear some noise from the other room there and I don't want it to bleed through. Thank you. And a big thank you to Mike tonight for covering for Zach, who is still working out his schedule with his new job. Anyway, thank you. H3 Pet Supply is willing to help with Diego's medical bills. Not that really in there, I know that if he gets sick, that's one thing. He's going to get sick and, it's probably not going to be a long, lingering, expensive thing. But if anybody's worried about that as a reason not to adopt him, there's the offer and it stands. So if you're interested in Diego, you can call 203-690-1400. Once again, that's 203-690-1400. Alrighty, I will take the camera back, and I just want to take this time, I'm always pushing for the adoptions, and I'm always pushing to save a life and, foster and all that. This is the season where people think sort of out of the box sometimes, and, they want to get, little Johnny a kitty for Christmas. They want to get, Sally a little fluffy puppy for Christmas. Pets really shouldn't be presents. They should be an agreed upon addition to your home. Everybody should be on board. If you've got kids, you've got to know that they're probably not going to be the caretakers. It's going to fall on you. So you really have to weigh whether you want the added responsibility. Because if you have kids, you got your hands full, I'm sure. Do you want to have to crate train a puppy? Do you want to have to housebreak a puppy? Do you want to have to mind a kitten? Do you want to have to clean a hamster cage or a gerbil cage or, whatever, a bird? They require care. They require commitment. They require cleaning. They require food. They require time. And, it all starts out being like gung-ho, but in the long haul, are you really up for the commitment? Think about if you're going to try to add a pet to your home, that the type of pet you choose should fit your lifestyle and your ability to make that commitment to care for the well-being of that pet for its entire life, not just, until it doesn't suit your needs anymore. Don't feel like, oh, I can get this pet and then, when we get tired of it, we're going to dump it or get rid of it or let it loose or, whatever however your mind works. Don't think that that's the right thing to do. Do the research on the pet that you think you're interested in and find out if it's really for you. I mean, you can talk to any number of rescue type people. You can do research on the internet. There's all kinds of, groups on Facebook that you can join. I'm sure someone who's got the type of pet you're looking for. Do the research. It's the fair thing to do for your situation, and it's absolutely fair for the pet, because too many people go into things without knowing what the full picture entails. If you're thinking cat versus kitten, remember that a kitten is just a baby. And as a baby, it has a lot to learn. The same thing with puppies. But, puppies require so much more as far as work goes. Training and house training and, proper play and proper interaction. That goes for kittens too. the proper way to interact. And, if you've got kids, sometimes kids and kittens and puppies aren't the best mix, because you've got an animal that's a baby, and you've got a child, if it's a small child, and one doesn't understand the other or how to play right with each other. And unless you're going to be there to monitor it, someone's going to get hurt, and it's not going to be a very good situation. So anyway, an adult cat or dog is past that baby stage. It's more what you see is what you get with an adult animal. So much less work overall. Adult cats are overlooked in shelters, and so are the seniors. Depending on your lifestyle, if you've got slightly older kids, you're going to have a cat that's going to be so grateful just to have a home. There's going to be none of that bump in the road of getting settled in. It'll be a beautiful thing. Give the adults, give the seniors a look. With dogs, be smart. If you're set on a breed, if you're familiar with the breed, that's one thing. But if you're just wanting a dog, a certain breed of dog for how it looks, or what you think it's going to be like, without regard for the general behaviors and requirements for its well-being and its DNA, that's going to be a problem too. Find an animal that's going to fit your lifestyle. I can't express that enough. There's nothing wrong with mixed breeds, and I'm not talking designer dogs either, because that's just another whole rant that I can go on right now. The biggest piece of advice that I can give you is don't shop, adopt. Absolutely do not buy a puppy from a pet store. No matter how cute you think those puppies look, you're going to be fueling a puppy mill, no matter what the pet store tells you. I've had people say to me, oh, but I have to rescue the puppy from the pet store. All right. The puppies in the pet store, that's pathetic, because they're in filthy conditions a lot of times. They're in cramped cages. They're not necessarily cared for the way they should be. So yeah, there's no doubt that those puppies don't belong there. But the bigger picture for that is that where they're coming from is just inhumane. The puppies that are coming from these puppy mills, if there was not, it comes to be supply and demand. It's really sad. These are lives we're talking about, but it's supply and demand. So, if you want to ensure the misery of the parents for these puppies, then go ahead and buy a pet store puppy. But if you have a conscience, it's really not the way to go. Let's just give people a look at what some of these puppy mill parents are enduring. These dogs have been sentenced to a hard life without any comforts, no vet care. It's neglect, it's abuse, it's a life where their sole purpose is to produce puppies for human greed, and these dogs suffer through. They live and die, most of them, either without ever seeing the sun or being left out in the elements. They never get a loving touch, a kind word, or to even roll in the grass. So be angry about this. Be angry about this, and while you're being angry about this, educate yourself. Get involved with the movement to change the laws and to do away with this kind of thing. Puppy mills are absolutely unacceptable. While you're angry, adopt. Do not buy a dog. Adopt, adopt, adopt. Adopt because you believe no dog should be a puppy slave. Adopt because so many animals die in shelters just because they don't have homes. Adopt because that's the gift of life for every season, not just Christmas. You know, your first choice should be to adopt from a pound. If you need a little more guidance, seek out a rescue to adopt from. If you aren't thinking of adding a dog or cat to your home, remember there are rescues helping. I mean, if you are thinking of adding an animal to your home, there are rescues helping every kind of animal. It doesn't have to be a dog or cat. You can get rabbits, birds, small animals, horses. All you have to do is Google, and you know the information will come up. I'll take the camera back. I know it's hard to look at, but you know what? It's the reality. You know, whatever type of animal that you're looking for, you can find through a rescue. You can find through all kinds of resources. Pounds even sometimes have the craziest kind of animals, rabbits and birds and lizards and snakes. So do the legwork and save a life. The joy that a rescued pet will bring to your heart is immeasurable, and the gift of life to an animal that otherwise would have probably not a real good shot in a shelter, there's no better feeling than to know that you saved a life. So if you're gonna do it for Christmas, you know, you're probably better off to wait until just after Christmas, just after the holidays, when life goes back to normal, and you know, you're not that rush of Christmas and the presents and, you know, the toys all over the floor if you've got kids. You know, let everything settle down. Do it after the first of the year, unless you know you can take on the responsibility now, because really it's a lot of work to have a pet. And, you know, in a few months when you're tired of it and there are rescuers having to pick up the pieces and animals are abandoned, they're not going to understand what they ever did wrong to lose the home that they thought they had. So do it responsibly and do it for the long term. That's all I can possibly ask. So anyway, I think we're just about out of time, are we? I'm going to say peace, love, and dogs. Until next week, thank you for watching and good night.